all on air, but this is one of the most successful Bilderbergs ever. Great job. They've got to really be upset. Their agenda all over the place is in so much trouble, and they're now identified. I mean, once they're identified, it's the beginning of the end. We're not just obsessed with soccer players and football players. It's the beginning of the end of this shadow corporate world government.
Totally agree, Alex. And it was quite an ordeal dealing with these people all day and all night. And now we finally have some, I think, some peace in just getting these confrontations out in the open and letting people know what these people really think. They think of us as kind of dirt. This guy, Oscar Bronner, really didn't want to talk to me. He was kind of looking down at me. Who are you with? And then Carl Saavedra is taking pictures right in my face like I'm a criminal when he's one of the criminals here.
Well, con artists always have their bravado, their chutzpah. Yeah. That's all they got. And, you know, not all powerful people are scum like that, but these type of folks that work in these combines, they have disdain for the public. Bilderberg's all about hurting the public. It's a eugenicist global plan. They don't just discuss money there. It's about the larger depopulation program. Their own documents have been ferried out. They've been blown wide open. They're in deep trouble. I salute you all and Josh Owens. If you guys have time tomorrow and aren't on a plane yet, I want to interview you guys as well. But regardless, Tuesday in studio, great job, man. I really want to commend the job you've done.
All right, we'll see you then.
All right, thank you so much. Great job, Mr. Tillman. Good to meet you. And there were so many other citizen journalists out there that are having a big effect. I see it as more honorable when you're a citizen journalist with a $100 camera or 80 euro camera or whatever it is, than when you're a big hoard out New York Times of Germany like this Bronner guy. As Matt Drudge has always said, every blogger, every person with a camera, every YouTuber is just as important as the New York Times. Well, the New York Times is so discredited, we're more important. We don't put on all these airs and enact. We're here taking action. You didn't see mainstream media getting up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning to drive to Dallas and cover the events up there with the shooting. We did, because that's what real journalists used to do. Now media just waits for a press release from the police or from the government and regurgitates it. All right, Joe Biggs, we only got about 3 minutes to break. You'll have the next segment. You and I both were like, might be a crazy, angry about something, we'll see. Then they tell us, oh, it was his own makeshift armored vehicle. And, oh, well, that's not true. And then none of it adds up. Now, the bullet angles, I saw this on the news myself, and I'm a shooter. I know what stuff looks like, but you're an expert, combat vet, multiple tours. What do you make of the whole situation? Now they're in Raw Story saying that James Boulware was a conspiracy theorist. By tomorrow morning, you're going to hear Alex Jones, listener. I said, they keep saying people are going to attack police departments with no history of this. They're going to blame the Patriots. Jade Helms coming up. I said, if that narrative continues, we know it may be staged. Well, a lot of red lights are going off here, Joe Biggs.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first got out there, it was kind of hard to tell. You know, I was looking at a lot of the evidence that I could, listening to the different stories, reading the different articles in the area. Most of the police weren't saying anything because they said the FBI was still conducting an ongoing investigation. They were still picking up evidence. They were doing a lot of things like that. And then we found out, hey, around 3 o'clock, we're going to allow you guys, a select number of you journalists, we're going to take your name, the association that you work for, and we're going to bring in a reporter and a cameraman. We're going to allow you to walk through the crime scene to each individual spot where the shooting began.
And we're not saying the average cops are involved.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
But one of the big things was, what I noticed is we got to the police vehicle that was fired upon. Now, the police vehicle was facing the police department, the front of the police department. When you look,
and we're showing photos you took on screen.
Yeah, when you look at the bullet holes that were at the front of the windshield, now there were 2 officers in that vehicle. There was a driver and a passenger. Now, how they survived this, you know, like they say, there's no atheist in Foxhole. I'm pretty sure if these guys didn't believe in God, they found him really quick.
Yeah, we're not saying the attack was fake. This could have killed somebody. Yeah. Barely missed him.
2 of the rounds came right through the windshield into where the driver would have been, through there and out the back into the back seat. Now, the bullet holes in the windshield are high, a couple low, which means they would have had a straight, you know, triangulation going through. But there was 2 that came from a high angle, and then the 2 exit holes in the back of the seat, where that fiberglass area is where they use to protect, you know, from a passenger in the back, were at the very bottom. So if this guy was standing up, there's no way he could have shot around and then it kind of, you know, went down. So the firing...
Unless it's a magic bullet.
Yeah, unless it's a magic
Dallas does have magic bullets.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
I mean, that one hit Kennedy like 5 times.
Yeah. The grassy knoll.
And then it fell out undamaged on the stretcher.
Yeah, I mean, these things, there was either no cops in that car, and that's a complete lie in the story, or these are two of the luckiest men in the world.
I saw it this morning. I don't have time to scramble and get it. It just clicked, though. The police chief came out. I've met him. He's a pretty nice guy. He said he thinks there might have been people up higher shooting. We're going to come right back. Go to Dallas, as our reporters did physically. Jakari Jackson will be in studio as well tomorrow. We're going to break more of this down. And you've got bullets coming in at the top of the car, and then they go down at an angle, and they're supposedly shot from gun ports that are basically at the same level as the police car. So they should be going through with a flat trajectory. You know there's a cover-up, and we'll have this by tomorrow. The police chief saying we thought they were shooting from roofs. So that shows the police department probably isn't involved in this. They don't know what's going on. And I'm not... From my experience, you don't see, like, departments staging false flags. You see globalist organizations doing it, giving an official narrative to the department. Then the van races away. They first said that it was something he'd made. Turns out he bought it on eBay, even though he had no job and was bankrupt. And it's a armored van that, like, police or others would use. You can buy these on the civilian market. Oh, it might be a good vehicle for the InfoWars crew, actually. Here's the headline. Where did unemployed mechanic Bullware get money to buy zombie apocalypse assault vehicle? Family said attacker did not have money to pay for mental health care. So he may just be a mental patient cutout of some other group. And you add Jade Helm coming up with, quote, the military simulating illegal activities. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but they use drills as a cover. And other weird stuff's going on. Joe Biggs, you got the floor for the final 8 minutes. This is Bombshell. You got video and photos with Jakari. We'll have it all in HD tomorrow for folks on the weekday show. We're just codifying this now. But at first, we thought just another crazy nut. It's starting to look suspicious. You even said that.
Yeah, once you actually get out there and look at the evidence and you get, boots on the ground and you're able to look at these different scenes, it just doesn't add up. And like I said, the biggest thing is the trajectory of those bullets coming through. It doesn't add up that this guy was shooting an assault rifle through these portholes in the side of a van. A van doesn't sit that much higher.
You can't physically shoot down at that angle unless he's on the roof.
I mean, he would have had to have been, like, right there, parked on the very front of the hood. Like, just had driven right on the hood to be able to get that kind of an angle.
I know, but I'm looking at the ports. That wouldn't even be at that angle to shoot that way down. I mean, maybe.
They were saying that he was firing towards the police department, and then... I'm assuming at that point in time he heard the car come, and then that's when he had turned around and apparently started, shooting at the police vehicle. But like I said, once you get out there, at first they brought us to the front of the police vehicle. Then they brought us to the front of the police department where it was just riddled with bullet holes all over the whole front. And they said that is not reinforced. It's not bulletproof whatsoever. Those rounds went through that into the front desk where there would have been, like ladies, civilians working to process people, help them at the front desk, went through that and into other offices as well. Then they took us down to the next area where the bag that had the pipe bomb went off in the parking lot. And you could see bits of screw, PVC pipe, all this different stuff. It completely took out the front end of the vehicle and smashed some windows in some surrounding vehicles. Then they brought us back around and then brought us to the left rear side of the police vehicle where you could see where the bullet went. Well,
I'll say this. Them letting you in so quick does not add to it being a false flag. But again, the department's probably not involved in this. When you look at staged events, they'll have the cutout in the vehicle, somebody else gets out before he gets caught, or that they leave a dead body in the van later and then call on the tip to the police. I mean, I've seen this done in other countries. I've seen it done here. It may not be a false flag, but it's just not adding up. And part of your homework, Joe, is if you can do it. I saw that clip this morning. It's on InfoWars in one of the articles. The police chief gave a press conference. He talked about believing there were other shooters up higher. So the police are obviously noticing the same thing.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of apartment complexes and lofts that you can rent surrounding the police department right there. So there's a lot of high vantage points for something like that to happen. But like I said, the police vehicle was facing the police station. So that meant that shots had to have been fired from the police station to get that angle down at the
Repeat what you told me earlier, yeah, because I interrupted you. Explain. The bullets are at an angle. We have the photos. They're from up high. That's even bigger. The angle is from the department.
Yeah, it's from the department. I mean, no doubt.
Explain it.
There's no way, because the way the vehicle pulled up, it was facing the front of the Dallas Police Department right there. So the angle, when you look at where the bullets come through through the windshield to where the driver would be sitting, through the back seat and out the back. You can see how the metal tore, how it came from a high trajectory. So it had to have been because the police vehicle was aiming, pointing towards the front of the vehicle. It would have had to have come from there.
You told me months ago that when you were in Iraq and Afghanistan that sometimes if you just got shot at once, I don't know if you remember the story, we were out having a beer, that you stopped the Humvees and then you could, once security got set up, see the angle and pretty much find out where it came from to go find the people.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's where your skill in this comes from. But
exactly.
Anybody can see where a bullet's coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, what angle?
Well, I mean, a lot of the reporters out there were asking some of the most cupcake questions. I mean, I was just in awe of how stupid that entire thing went. You know, what do you think? And just some of the dumbest stuff. And I'm sitting there saying, that looks like a 308, maybe a 7.62 is like a 308 assault rifle or probably a Kalashnikov or something like that. The guy would have had to been elevated. And then one of the camera guys was an old Vietnam vet. And he goes, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It had to have come from a high.
Oh, I forgot. You went to a press conference. Did you get any of these questions in of why are the bullets coming in an angle from the top?
They wouldn't let us ask anything that didn't have to do with just the crime scene itself. It had to be about actual that.
Okay, why are the bullets coming in from an angle at the top?
As soon as anyone would ask something like that, they said, no, we'll answer that another time. They wouldn't ask anything like that. They wouldn't answer anything.
For those that don't know, you can stick pencils in there and see the angle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could see it.
That's what they did.
I mean, they let me get right close to it. I looked at it. It came from high up. It had to have come from
But see, if they were involved in the cover-up, they wouldn't let anybody in there.
Well, I think
notice the Rot Rally. They're still not releasing any of that footage or letting anything out.
Yeah, from the Waco thing.
I mean, not the Rot Rally, the Waco thing.
Yeah. Well,
Speaking of Watt Rally, you saw them Friday night with sniper rifles downtown.
Yeah, they were walking up and down the street with these sniper rifles attached to their backpack. And these are the same guys in green uniforms that we saw in Waco. Those are the ones that, you know, assaulted like it was a Normandy on this Twin Peaks. And that was one of the questions I had before that. Is it going to be handled the same way? And luckily... Somebody
shoots, so you just shoot the crowd.
Yeah.
And then seal everything. Now, that's definitely a cover-up.
But one of the things I did think was one of the most suspicious things was the fact that it was an ongoing crime scene. You're letting people outside come in. They could possibly contaminate it. They could come back later and say, you know, one of these reporters touched something. And
you see, I see it as they're not covering it up, so maybe it's true. But you're saying, and I get what you're saying, why let you into a crime scene?
Yeah, because they had the FBI right there. The FBI crime scene investigators were on scene. They had these different devices out that measure the angles and all this stuff. And there was you know, shrapnel all over the ground. And we were just walking over it. The cops were like, oh, it's okay, just walk over here. Just if you see a white piece of paper with a number on it, just don't step on that part. But we're walking through essentially contaminating a crime scene, and yet there's no problem with that. You know, anytime I've been to any kind of thing like this before, it takes days before they let you in. I thought that was one of the most suspicious things, is that the day of, they're bringing 20, 30 people through.
Well, part of it is the guy's dead. But no, I see what you're saying. See, I was thinking they're not covering it up, so maybe they're telling the truth. But I get your point. Why would they just let you in? But that kind of bodes towards it being real, because everybody's, you know, reality's a lot more disjointed. I tell you, it's confusing. Well, I mean, what about the angle of these bullets? That's really suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, we just remember back this past Thanksgiving, we had a similar incident here in Austin, Texas, downtown to the police department. A guy came in. I had just gotten back with Jakari from Ferguson. It was in November. We had just gotten back and landed. I'm like, all right, I'm tired of being shot at. I need to go downtown on 6th Street, have a beer, relax, and just get away from all the gunfire. And some guy comes through in downtown Austin. And when I was just at the police department the other day, bullet holes riddled all across the front, hasn't been repaired. And, you know, it's crazy.
They still haven't repaired the police department?
No, not at all. It's all over the inside window when you go up and like hand them your ID to say, hey, I've gotten a ticket. I need to pay for this. This is who I am. Bullets all over there, holes all through there.
God, what a country. And why is it all happening in Texas? Something's going on.
Well, I told you, you know, Jade Helm was labeled hostile. And it seems funny ever since we came out with these documents saying that Jade Helm or that Texas was hostile on the Jade Helm documents. Everything's been going crazy. Garland, you know, McKinney, the Dallas shootings, all these different things keep happening in Texas. Texas looks pretty hostile to me now. It looks like they're getting what they wanted.
Well, we don't know what's happened here. It just doesn't add up.
But yeah, I mean, it's just really suspicious.
Because I saw your photos this morning before we even got back, and it said an angle, and I'm going, those are in angles. And then even the police chief saying we thought they might have been on roofs because they were coming in down at an angle.
Yeah, they changed their story actually about that 2 or 3 times yesterday, because my initial reports that I heard where, yeah, we think there's multiple shooters, because a lot of the witnesses who were out there said that, hey, we heard multiple gunfire from different areas.